This is Boston Chris with another great episode of the ETX ROCKS Show.
Louise here.
Descript.
Featuring all genres and styles of entertainment.
And coming to the ETX ROCKS.
Let's hear it from Louise, please.
From the unheralded and unheard to the legends and beyond.
Out of the box with ETX ROCKS.
It's awesome.
We keep them coming.
$5, that's pocket change.
Well, hey, y'all, this is Haley McDaniel. Are y'all ready for this?
ETX ROCKS Show is the greatest show of all time, okay?
We are ETX ROCKS.
The ETX ROCKS Show is the best show of all time, say? The other shows, you're good, you're real good. As long as we're around, you'll be second best, say?
Cut.
Hey guys, it's Katie Lynn, and thank you guys so much for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show.
Hey guys, Boston Chris here with another amazing episode of the ETX ROCKS Show. And guys, we are super excited about our guest for this week. Matt Kimbrow with the Matt Kimbrow Band has been a fixture in the Texas country and red dirt scene for the last 4 years or so. They just released a single called Homesick Crazy, which comes in as their fourth consecutive #1 hit on Texas radio. For the next 40 minutes or so, you'll listen to Matt and I talk about a lot of different things as well as being an independent artist, the struggles and benefits of being one. We'll talk about the new single and a whole lot more. You guys, when we're talking about the single, Matt will tell us the story behind the song towards the end of this episode, and it actually choked me up as a lifetime military family. My dad having served 20 years in the military. Just hearing his story about how he was inspired to write the song, really kind of made me a little emotional. And thank goodness Matt can talk, because I'm not sure I would have been able to say anything while he was talking about the story behind the song. But before we get to this amazing episode and conversation with Matt Kimbrow, you guys check out this song. This is the brand new single by Matt Kimbrow, fourth consecutive #1 hit on Texas radio. This song is called Homesick Crazy.
Hey pretty lady, it's been a long time since I heard your voice. I'd do anything to hold you right now if I had the choice. I'm scared to death, I'm praying that I'll see tomorrow's sun again. I'm writing you a letter to tell you how I am and where I have been. I've done some things that's aged me, I've seen a lot of things that's changed me, and I'm fighting the fears and holding back the tears here lately. And holding on to you has got me homesick crazy. You should see my boots, you should see my hands, you should see my face. I'm a different man. I can't sleep at night, every day looks like the 4th of July. And the only thing that makes me smile is thinking about the twinkles in your eyes. I've done some things that saved me, I've seen a lot of things that changed me, and I'm fighting the fears and holding back the tears here lately. And holding on to you has got me homesick crazy. You're the only thing that gets me through my day to day. I've done some things that changed me, I've seen a lot of things that changed me, and I'm fighting the fears and holding back the tears here lately. And holding on to you, holding on to you, holding on to you, holding on to you, holding on to you. Got me homesick crazy. I'm homesick crazy.
Hey guys, Boston Chris here with another great episode of the ETX ROCKS Show, and we have another amazing guest calling in on the phone this week. We have Mr. Matt Kimbrow. Now, you guys out there that follow the Texas country scene know that the Matt Kimbrow Band is one of the hottest acts in the Texas country and red dirt scene. I'd say over probably the last 3 or 4 years. Just recently, they garnered their fourth #1 hit, which is called Homesick Crazy, and I love this song. You guys just heard it here on the episode. And it also was a 7th straight top 10 hit. Matt Kimbrow, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, man. I'm glad I got to be a part of this.
So, Matt, I understand that you're from the Fort Worth area.
I am. Me and my band were based out of Fort Worth, and I grew up in a little town called Grand Prairie, Texas, and it's right in between Dallas and Fort Worth. And, you know, when I guess I start adulting, you know, I moved off to Hazlet, Texas, and then all my band members are all from Fort Worth, so we're based right out of Fort Worth. So.
And one thing that I really enjoy about your music, especially the brand new single "Homesick Crazy," is your lyrics and the way you perform these songs. I've been listening to you a lot over the last couple of weeks, not just your recorded stuff, but your live performances too. You just have such a believability in your approach to each song that you perform. Is there some kind of strategy involved in that, or does that just come naturally to you?
No, I mean, when I get on stage and when I'm singing, it's not made up. I'm just being myself and just being who I am as an artist. I mean, that's the glory of being an artist, is the artistry of it. And you know, there's a lot of people that probably look at my music and say, man, that guy, he's not the average Texas country guy. He's not the average, you know, he don't fit our format or whatever it is. You know, I'm just trying to be myself, you know, and just keep writing this new album that we're getting on right now. It's going to be a new me out there, because I'm finally getting to be exactly who I'm meant to be, you know. And it's been tough, you know, because I can honestly tell you, when I very first started, I was looking at all the big, huge artists out there, and I was like, wow, you know, I want to be that guy, because they're playing that stage and they're doing that. And so I started seeing what was doing, you know, working for them and stuff. And I was doing that, and I was like, man, this ain't me. You know, this
Right.
is not me, and I'm not getting to be who I am, and not getting to be the influence, you know, that I grew up on, and the things that I looked to, you know, and looked up to, you know, and so finally, I'm finally getting to be me, you know, and you get to a point where you don't care anymore, you know.
Right.
You don't care, you know. Hopefully the fans love you, and you need the fans, you know, to survive in the music. But then you get to a point where you're like, you know what? If they love me or hate me, you know, I'm just going to be me, and hopefully they love me. And so far, it's been good, you know.
Do you feel over the evolution of this process, you know, you're watching these bigger stars on the bigger stages, and you know, you've decided, hey, I don't need to do that in order to be Matt Kimbrow. But do you feel like you still take, you know, maybe pieces of each artist that have influenced you and try to package it into who you are?
Of course. I mean, you look at success, and you look at things that you like about that artist, you know.
Right.
And you know, I mean, I grew up, you know, I listened to the old country, and then I started liking the 90s country like crazy, man. I love 90s country.
Yeah, that's funny, because
then,
when listening to your stuff, man, you can definitely hear that 90s influence. You know, it's kind of like,
yeah,
it's kind of like that the 90s country that we all really loved so much, but there's that red dirt twang in there too. It's really kind of a cool groove that you got going on.
yeah, I think so. I think we mixed that red dirt groove in there, and then we had some a touch of 90s country in there. But you know, I took 2 years, and I was listening to the Beatles, you know.
Nice.
and I took 2 years listening to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and to Billy Joel and all these guys, you know. And I started just like analyzing their words and started listening to exactly what they were saying, you know. And I remember listening to, you know, the song Rocket Man, you know.
Absolutely.
And every time I'd go on the road, you know, I would be by myself sometimes, and because some of these radio deals, you know, I mean, I got to just jump in my car and just go, you know. And so a lot of times I was by myself because I couldn't afford to pay, my road manager or anybody to go with me. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to head out and whatever happens, happens, And I remember turning on that song and I don't know, man, it's those older songs that speak to me, so yeah, it's definitely an influential deal in me, and hearing, what these guys back then were actually talking about and what they were feeling. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the same approach. I'm just going to write what I'm feeling. And I'm happy to know that some of these songs are happy thoughts, not the sad thoughts, So,
Right.
but so I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride, man. It really has. But I can't wait to see where it leads me.
Man, I think that's cool too, because a lot of those older bands, especially in the rock genre, they really knew how to approach a lyric in a song that I think is lost to a lot of people today. So, for a newer artist to kind of look back at that approach, I think can be really beneficial in today's scene.
Well, I don't think that the average fan, understands. I think a lot of people think that it's just so glorious to be out there and being in front of all the fans and all that stuff. And it is. It's a great feeling, to know that your music's getting out there and you're progressing. But, man, this stuff can be a lonely road, man. I mean, there's times where, artists are missing their families and missing their kids and just, they don't have the normal life that everybody else has out there. And but it's just who we are. It's what we were made to do. It's our journey. That we were put on this earth to do. I mean, certain people have the talent, and the gifts to do it, and just like somebody is a lawyer, they're meant to be a lawyer because they're that scandalous, and so,
right.
But some people are meant to be a doctor, and I woke up one day and I said, man, what am I missing in my life? And I said, I've sung since I was a kid, and I just wasn't happy. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump out there and do this. And I remember working a full-time job, and I worked at Bell Helicopter, and good God, man, that thing almost killed me. Driving all the way to Houston, Texas, and then the same night driving back, to go work to clock in at 7 a.m. that morning, Yep. And so it was tough, it'll definitely make you an old man, I'll tell you that.
Well, I got to tell you, man, I recently had the pleasure of talking to a pretty well-known country star from the 90s, and he grew up in music, started in church like you did, and one thing that he said to me was, my parents always told me that if I had a backup plan, then I'll be in that backup plan before I know it. He said, so,
exactly right.
When I decided I was going to do music, I did music, and I had no backup plan, and maybe that's why it worked out, maybe not, but that's what my parents, led me to believe. So, I mean, but on the other hand, I've heard other guys say, the music business is so tough, you might want to make sure you have a degree to fall back on and all this. So just different views on stuff. And I mean, like I just said, you grew up really singing in church as well, and I've noticed that a lot of folks in the scene kind of get their start in the church. So, from singing so young at church, what kind of steps did you have to take in your mind in order to really kind of leave that ordinary job behind and decide to go full bear on this career?
Well, I think subconsciously it took over. Honestly, everybody's got their own journey,
right?
And I've learned this. I've had to learn this in the past year. Okay, everybody's journey is different. Everybody's book is different. Whatever Aaron Watson's doing is not my journey. It's his journey.
Exactly.
Whatever I'm doing, there's only one Matt Kimbrow. There's only one Aaron Watson out there, and so I can't sit there and say what is right and what is wrong about my journey versus his journey, or vice versa, and so my biggest deal is knowing that when I was at Bell Helicopter, it basically phased out itself. I mean, everybody's got their own, like I said, their own story, but mine actually, I guess it's because my heart was more into it, on the music side, and that's where I was belonging. And I was there at Bell Helicopter for 10 years, since I was like 18 years old.
Wow.
I started there. And I was topped out in pay. I was making $36 an hour. And and had my retirement pension going and everything else. I was on a roll, man, and but there was something about music that took over, and I told my wife, I was like, man, I can't keep clocking in at this job. I can't keep doing this. And so she looked at me and she's like, well, I mean, I have a job and this and that, and she makes great money, and she's like, whatever happens, but keep working there. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
and so eventually me and Bill Helicopter came head to head because the music was taking over way too much, and it just phased out itself, and I had to go on my way, and they went on their way, and I found out that I was just another number, to the corporation, and I never looked back. I mean, I gotta say, when I was a Bell Helicopter, with all the overtime and everything I worked, 6 figures a year was great, to profit in my pocket, but the Matt Kimbrow band has been nothing but a blessing. I mean, we've had our ups and downs, and we've gone through musicians, and I mean, the struggle of a normal band, that every band has gone through, and but you know what? It just depends on what you want to do with it.
Right.
If you want to be successful at it, I mean, it depends on what you look at as success. Like I said, there's bands out there that are happy playing 4 hours a night, 5 days a week, and they consider themselves successful. Well, man, congratulations, you're successful, because in your own eyes, that's what success means,
Right. And we all determine what our own level of success is, really.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn all this, man, because I was getting bitter. I mean, I really was, because this, when I first started this thing out, I thought it was going to be so much faster, and just, I was going to be the next Josh Abbott, and, have my Tonight Not is Not the Night song, and or Oh Tonight song, whatever it is, and boom, bada bing, and there I was, and I found out, from many, 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 many artists that are successful today, and the country music guys, it's not like that. There's artists that are extremely lucky, and and Josh Abbott, he'll tell you out of his own mouth, like he's told me, I'm extremely lucky, because he didn't have to sweat out the freaking 10 years of going through hell and being told no, every single day. And,
right.
And, he got lucky. And, people like Aaron Watson, dude, it took him 14 years,
yep.
Granger Smith, it took him freaking 18 years, I mean, this guy, Zane Williams, same story. I mean, these guys have been, sweating it hardcore on the road for a long, long time. And then Eli Young Band, when they went to Nashville, man, those guys been at it 12 years hard, strong, and finally got their break because that's where they wanted to go, you know? But
that's the cool thing about the Texas scene, too, is, I mean, really, in order to make it to where people know your name in this state, I mean, you have to work for it. You have to be on the road, and you have to be willing to, stand after a show and shake people's hands and hug their neck. And,
I've been ridiculed about that, too. I mean, I've been told by people in the industry, hey, you're too accessible,
Yeah.
And
that's ridiculous.
I've been told a lot. Well, I've been told a lot, man. And I tell you, there's a lot of things that get under my skin, but it's more of the business side. The fans are amazing. But the fact is, like I said, there's people that should work with you, and there's people that should not work with you. And that's the biggest mistake of a young artist, is hiring the wrong people. And that's the biggest advice I can give a young artist out there that's first starting out. First off, a young artist doesn't need a manager. They don't need a booking agent. They need to do it themselves.
Yep.
And when they get to a point to where they can't do it anymore, that's when they need a manager and a booking agent. But when they just start hiring any Joe Schmo to be their radio promoter and to be their whatever it is, that's the biggest mistake that they can make.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. Like, the way I would put it is, if you're new and you're starting out, do everything independently, because, if you're new, then you're going to have to audition for those different agencies. But if you do it yourself and you become successful and you get to a level to where, people are coming to you, guess what? Now you can audition the agencies and pick from whichever one you want.
I mean, there comes a point, and this is where I made the mistake, because I've had some name brand people that worked for me back in the day, and it actually hurt my career. I'm going to tell you right now, it actually hurt my career, and I could have been so much further in the eyes of my success if I didn't make those moves, but I was going after name brand, you
Right.
know, and I'll tell you what, it set me back 3-4 years, and I tell you, because you get those name brand guys and you're not ready for them yet. Guess who it turns into? It turns into you working for them, not y'all working as a team.
Exactly.
And then they put you in the back of the bus, and then you're suffering. You're out there, and that's the biggest advice I'm telling you for a young artist that's listening out there. That's the biggest advice I can give is watch who you hire, because there's a lot of people out there. The scene is not. Everybody thinks that being an independent artist, it's so much cheaper than going to Nashville and this and that, and the scavengers are all in Nashville. That's totally 100% false. They're here too. Okay?
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
And
Yeah.
there's so many people that want to take your very, very hard-earned money while you're staying, sleeping on couches and everything else, and trying to scrape up that money back in the day,
Right.
And they're willing to take your money and not produce for you. And I tell you, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And then they want to talk about Nashville. They want to talk about, when I set out to do this, it's no secret, it's no lie. I love Texas country, okay? But when I set out to do this, I set out to be a country artist from Texas. And what that means is being myself, being independent as long as I can possibly be, okay? And going and spreading my music to as many people as I can possibly do. And that was my ultimate goal, and it's still my ultimate goal. And people like Aaron Watson and Cody Johnson and all those guys, they're paving the road for us.
Yeah.
I mean, they were at the ACMs the other night,
Yep.
and they're paving the road for us to be able to have that kind of outlet, to not have to sign with a label if we don't want to. I'm not saying labels are bad all the way around, because they're not, okay? Because the labels these days have changed. I go to Nashville about once every month and a half. And I'm here to tell you, the labels have changed. They're a bona fide bank.
Right.
They're there to loan you the money.
Well, the cool thing is too, like you said, guys like Aaron and Josh and all these guys that took the independent route and are proving to the world that you don't need a label to be successful. You don't need a label to sell records. I mean, Aaron Watson had a #1 Billboard the first week of release with The Underdog. #1 this time with Vaquero. On iTunes. Then you have someone like Rich O'Toole, #5 on iTunes, also an independent Texas
You're exactly
artist.
right. Things are changing.
Right.
Things are changing the way that society is. I mean, man, it's no lie. I treasure radio, and they will always be important in my life. But there's more outlets now that makes it easier on independent artists as far as streaming.
Right.
And then you got radio, then you got streaming, then you got your social media.
Yep.
And social media has changed everything across the board. Okay.
That's right.
And it's made people like, there's a guy named Co Wetzel right now that's just killing it right now.
Yeah, Co's he's actually from East Texas.
He's killing it.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I can honestly tell you, I've never met the guy. Okay. I've never talked to the guy.
Right.
People that are in the music industry know about other people in the music industry. It doesn't matter how big, how small you are. We all keep in touch with what everybody's doing to see, okay, what's working, what's not working, this and that. It's all business strategic moves. Okay?
Absolutely.
And if you don't get on board, you're going to get passed up. And if you want to be successful at this, you got to stay up with times. You can't just be Papa over there, just saying, I'm not changing my ways and this and that. I did it this way 10 years ago, and that's the way I'm going to do it. You can't have that attitude. You got to have it to where, hey, whatever it is, I'm willing to do.
Yeah, it's that, and I think it's staying true to what your fans expect from you too. I mean, because
you're exactly right.
At the end of the day, they're really driving your bus. They're going to your shows. They're clicking on your social medias, and so I mean, staying relevant is huge, but also staying true to that fan base, whatever the fan base might be.
To reach a bigger fan base, you got to stay relevant.
Well, yeah, absolutely. No, completely agree with that. It's definitely a tricky balance, though. It's like Joe Nichols, for example. He's been so traditional as far as country music goes, but I mean, even here lately, you can kind of, see a change in his sound and him trying to stay relevant with what's going on in the industry nowadays. So that balance is going to be tough as an artist.
it's very, 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 very tough to stay current with the sounds. Okay, to stay in the ball game, because I've even heard some of the Texas country acts, and I'm not going to throw names out there, but I've even heard some of the Texas country acts change their sounds, and it's ones that we consider country music,
Yep.
you know. And I tell you, I'm not here to boom. I'm not here to do it, because this music industry is it's hard enough as it is, and they're making a living for their family. You know, there comes a point where, yes, we love what we're doing, but we also got to make a living for our family also. And you know, it's either this or we're going to McDonald's and flipping some burgers, because that's all we're worth. You know,
That's exactly right. No, you got it right.
Because that's all we got is our guitars and our voices. And so if we don't do that, what is the next outlet? We better have, you know, some kind of other skill under our belt, you know, that we're just like, oh crap, man, what do I do with this? You know, and because trust me, it's a scare. It is a scare to a good country artist that's trying to get on tour with a big name act to bust wide open, you know. And when I say bust wide open, I'm not talking about they're there just to bust wide open. No, we want to create something that gets us as far as we can in our careers, you know. I can honestly tell you, I've been mentioned in awards and all that stuff. I've never received an award, and I'm fine with that. You know, if I've never, ever received an award, if I'm the biggest underdog in Texas country history, I'm fine with that, you know. But I want to be able to know down deep inside I did everything I could to get it in front of the masses and the masses, you know, to spread my brand of music.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, it's a scary deal, because thank God we have people like Cody Jinks that keep it straight up country, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you, man, I know this guy. Back in the day, I'm here to tell you, man, back in the day, me and Cody were in Keller sitting at some little place together, and we played in front of 3 people, man. I'm telling you, nobody, hey, just a year and a half ago, nobody would pick up the phone for Cody Jinks, okay? Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody would even take a shot on him. And you know what? I feel his pain too, because they still do that to me. Okay, but you know what? He stuck with it, and he created the buzz, man.
Yeah, he kept it real, man. He didn't change.
Created the buzz and grew the beard longer, man.
Yeah, that's right.
And so,
man, Cody Jinks is huge, man. I think he's doing it, you know, nationally now too. You know, not just in Texas.
Well, all of them are. Like a lot of Texas country acts are taking it national now.
Yeah.
And sorry, man, my allergies are crazy today. But
it's all good.
But guys like that, have created something out of nothing. Okay,
right.
And that's the guys I have a ton of respect for, because, man, this guy didn't have investors. He didn't have these things, you know, that were just handed to him. This dude lived, you know. He's got a story like a Merle Haggard story one day, man. He's got the old folk story, man. He's got the superstar story.
Right.
And, you know, he took it nationwide. And to be honest with you, you know, I talked to Aaron Watson. Aaron Watson's a great buddy of mine, man. And people like him and Cody Jinks and even Cody Johnson, they'd actually be taking a loss in money right now if they actually took a record deal.
Oh, it'd be awful.
You know, honestly,
it'd be the worst thing they could do right now.
It'd be the worst thing they can do. Not just, you know, they'd probably go worldwide. But the fact is they would be taking a money hit, because they make enough money and they make enough, they're generating enough fan base.
Right. It wouldn't just be financial either. It would be creative as well. I mean, I think they would lose a lot of their freedom.
You're exactly right too. You know, and you got to look at the geography and the demographics of where they're playing to, and the sound of music. And I can understand, because I've heard some of my good buddies, you know, that are country, that start changing their sound a little bit. And I'm questioning, like, dude, what's up with that, man? You know, this and that. I mean, we're all boys. We hang around campfires and stuff, and we all have the same respect for each other. And you know, I love all music. I ain't gonna lie. I love it all. Okay. And I'm not downing their music if they change it a little bit. I don't care. That's their career. That's their life, their walk. Okay. And, but my deal is I'm like, hey man, you know, like changing the style of music and this and that. And it's explained to me, you know, Texas is a different cut of cookie, man. You know, Texas is very different in the way that it sounds, what we like, food. I mean, everything. we are our own brand of people here. Okay.
Yeah, and it's so cool as someone. I mean, I've been in Texas this is my 16th year that I've lived in Texas, and
So
yeah, I mean it's not just different here. It's just, I mean, even after 16 years and kind of being involved in the music scene a little bit with this show, it's just really exciting to see when someone like Aaron Watson or, you know, all the other boys that are working their tails off to make something happen. It feels like the whole, not just country scene in Texas, but all genres really are on the precipice of just doing something major worldwide. With the sound that comes out of the state, it's just exciting to be a part of it.
I think that our artists are opening up more than what a lot of people think. Okay.
Yeah.
That they actually know. I think we're doing it for all genres all across the board.
Right.
And a lot of people, like even in pop, even in rap, even in rock, there's a lot of people out there that are struggling as musicians. And I think that the Texas country acts are becoming more creative on how to build that fan base without a label.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. You know, and like I said, if you get signed by a label, man, I have nothing but love for you, man. I really do, because that takes a lot of hard work, takes a lot of stress. I mean, that is a lot of stress, having a label under your shoulder. You think, you know, stress is crazy now, you know, with being independent and stuff, you know, because I mean, being independent, it's very stressful. It's tough groundwork. Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, you're going to get some really great people that start working for you and this and that, you know, when you get a label. But the stress of having to pay that back, man, it's $250 a year for a 4-year contract, and then they have to see growth on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I tell you, that's a stressful environment, because a lot of people don't understand. Yes, you're making $1 million deal, but at the end of the day, you're not making $1 million. Everybody else is making that money.
That's right, because you got to pay everybody else to do what, you know, you were doing as an independent yourself.
I mean, if everybody thinks that Brett Eldridge and all these guys and the Nashville actor just filthy rich, they're highly wrong.
No,
okay?
they're not. Yeah,
they're not rich.
No,
okay?
not at all.
Because the fact is, they're still living normal lives. It's all a persona, okay?
Yep.
But I'm here to tell you, everybody else is rich around them.
Yeah. Yep.
But you know, rolling in a bus is fine. That's a great thing, and you get to see a lot of people. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to see so many beautiful things that God created. Okay, but as far as like everybody thinking that they're just filthy rich and this and that, I can tell you right now, our Texas country acts, you know, own ranches and they own real estate. They own so much crap, man. and I'm like, you know, there's a reason why they haven't gone to Nashville, and it ain't just down in Nashville. Okay, it's straight up that
bad
decision. You know, there's a reason. You know, their pocketbooks, we're fine. You know, that's why let us be the rejects. We'll continue being the rejects. You know. Yeah.
So, man, I want to talk about this new single you have out, man.
Of course. Yeah, I'd love to.
Homesick Crazy is the name of it for you guys listening out there. You guys need to go get this song. 4th consecutive #1 hit. Did you ever think that you could say those words when you got into this business? 4 consecutive #1 hits.
I did not, man. And I tell you, it's I'm lucky. I'll tell you, I'm very, very lucky. I have some really great people, you know, helping me out and working with me. And the coolest thing is we're a team, and that's the best feeling ever, to know that you're not alone anymore. And I couldn't do this just by myself. And you know, it takes radio, it takes everybody spinning it, it takes the fans calling in,
right?
It takes, you know, my radio promoter picking up the phone and communicating with the program directors. I mean, there's so much that goes to it, and the business side of it, and then, you know, just me getting out there and making the relationships, you know, being friends with a lot of these new PDs out there, and going all across Texas and surrounding states. And the glorious thing is the Texas country music scene is not just Texas anymore. It's Oklahoma. It's Arkansas. It's Kansas. Kansas is a huge contributor to our scene.
Yes, they are.
Now it's going into Idaho. Now it's going into Chicago. Now it's going into California.
New Mexico, too.
Yeah, New Mexico. I mean, there's so much love out there for our kind of brand, I guess, for our music out there. And now the hardest thing is hitting all those towns that have picked up on it, because it's starting to spread like wildflowers, man. And I'm grateful for that. And now the hardest thing is keeping everybody happy, you know?
Yeah.
and because the more you grow in the scene, the more work it creates. And it's not just shows. It's, you know, letting people know how grateful you are and making them, you know, a part of your life. You know,
it's being what the labels told you not to be, and that's approachable.
You're exactly right.
Yep.
And you want to show love to everybody, and I want to so bad, and it sucks that I can't get in my radio promoting Nissan off my car, you know, that I drive all across Texas with, you know, and 35 miles a gallon on that Roadhog, you know. So,
hey, that's a plus.
but when you're putting, you know, 60, 70,000 miles a year on your car, you know, I mean, I can't put it on an F-250, you know, that's for sure.
No.
And, but man, I'm so grateful, man. I mean, this has been a great ride, and I want to do this as long as I can. You know, I want to do this as long as my voice will let me, and as long as the fans let me, and as long as I keep progressing, you know, I'll keep doing it, you know. And the songs, you know, are just coming to me, and I'm trying to educate myself more and build my craft and work on my craft just to make sure that the next song's going to be better. The next song's going to be better. The next song's going to be better.
Right.
You know?
So, man, you know, listening to this song, I got to tell you, man, like we talked about relevance and lyrics earlier, and you know, I grew up as a military brat. My dad did 20 years in the military, so you know, listening to the song, my first inclination in hearing the lyrics was, you know, hey, this is a pretty good patriotic song. You know, this is about a military guy and all of that. But then I really got listening to the song. You know, I listened to it over and over again, probably for a couple of days. And it dawned on me that really nowhere in that song do you even say it's about a military guy or girl. Really, it's just about somebody who is missing home and missing the family, and whether it's, I mean, it could be about you and being on the road, you know, performing your music. It could be about the oil field worker or the truck driver. But for me personally, you know, I picked up on the military side of it. So my curiosity is, when you're writing this song, are you trying to make it that broad? Are you, you know what I mean?
I can give you the background on this song, and it'll explain everything.
Okay, cool.
So I just got done playing a show in Odessa with Easton Corbin, and it was about 3 a.m, and I was outside and I was hanging out with the boys, and I saw this guy. He came around the corner and he said, "Hey, Matt Kimbrow," and I turned around and I said, "Hey, man, what can I do for you, man?" And this and that, and we were just all laughing, having a good time, and we end up on his truck, you know, on the tailgate, just talking, man, you know, just getting to know each other, and he had a beer and I had a beer, and we were just getting to talk, and I was like, "So what's your story? You know, you've heard my story, you know," and he told me that he was in Special Forces and that he was a veteran, and that he was a huge fan of mine, that he didn't even come for Easton Corbin that night. He came to hear me, and he was so pleased about it. And I was like, okay, and well, tell me about your military. And so he said, well, man, it's kind of tough for me because I suffer from PTSD. And he was actually really good friends with, you remember that guy, Chris Kyle, you know, everybody's talking about.
Right.
And so we got to talking, and, you know, the guy's been shot 3 times. And the guy, you know, has gone into serious combat and has had some serious missions. And that last time he got shot up, you know, he wasn't supposed to live. And he got graphic with me, and I don't want to go into all that, you know, but I looked at him, and I can just see his face, and I said, "Well, man, what got you home?" And I said, "If you were supposed to die, like, what got you home? What was your strength?" And his patient wife was right over there, and he looked over, and he didn't have any words, and he just pointed at her, you know. And it touched me, you know, it really did. It touched me, and I was like, wow, you know. I said, "So she got you home?" And he goes, "Yeah." He said, "That's the only thing on my mind, man. I had to get home to her." He said, I knew if I got home to her, everything would be okay." And so I just sit there and I let that marinate. And I said, dude, this is a powerful story, man. I was like, do you mind if I just like I had these words hit me. So, and I said, you were homesick, and you had to get home to her. So he was just homesick crazy. I mean, because he was crazy in his head and he was ready to get home, and so I wrote that story and talking about like on the second verse, he's like, he couldn't go to sleep, because it was like the dang 4th of July, and that's how he explained it to me. He said it was like 4th of July, when he was fighting out there, and he said he'd look in the sky and it was just always lit up, and he always slept with one eye open. So anyway, I started writing that story, and then it hit me. I had a radio station in Snyder, Texas, call me, and they said, "Hey Matt, could you come to this VA hospital? And the radio station's going to be here. I'm going to be here, and would you sing for these veterans since you got this song, that you're about to put out?" I said, "Well, of course, let me come up there." Well, man, I've never been in the military. I don't know two things about it. All I know is I got a little ghetto in me, and I'll street fight and everything else. So, I've been jumped by gangs and this, but I don't know anything about war. Okay.
Right.
Well, I stepped in this place. Never been to a VA in my life. I've never, I'm the average American. I'm the average guy that says, that may have an opinion and this and that, about, hey, I may support our military and this and that, but they truly don't know what it means, man. And I stepped in there and I saw these old people, and I saw a Korean War guy. I saw these Vietnam vets that claim to be 65 and they look 95.
Right.
And I saw these guys and they couldn't walk, and I saw people with missing limbs and everything else. And they were all still prideful, wearing their hats, veteran and this and that. And so I stepped in there, and I can look in a man's eye. That's something I've been gifted with my whole life, is I can look in somebody's eye and tell if they're full of crap or not,
Right.
And I guess it's because I've never had anything, and I've always been a businessman, trying to sell something on the side of the road, And so I started looking in these guys' eyes, and I can see it. These guys were no joke back in the day, man. I mean, these guys were trained killers, and I talked to some of them, and got a chance to know some of them, became friends with some of these guys. And these guys were highly trained, a couple of them that I met, and good God, back in the day, they were hell to deal with. And as soon as I sang that song, man, it broke my heart, because I saw these trained men that had to see a lot of things out there, and it changed them of who they were and everything else, that they weren't the same person as they were when they first left. And then when I sang this song, these men just broke down crying. Oh man, when they did that to me, I mean, me and the program director, I just started bouncing. Man, you guys just had to do it to me, man. I just started bawling my eyes out, And I sit there and I said, it hit me. I said, I have to do something about this. This is something big, and I got to know these people. And so what I did was I created this deal with Boot Campaign, and I raised money, and I went all across Texas to every single VA hospital. It was around Christmas time, and I sang in front of all of the VA, as many as I could, throughout 3 weeks, at a time. And I'd go back on tour, on that Friday and come back home, and then Monday I'd start again. And I did that for 3 weeks, from Monday through Friday.
Wow.
And I tell you, that was a blessing, man, because it made me realize a whole lot. It made me realize that these guys are very, very unappreciated, by a lot of people out there. And I just wanted to raise awareness, because a lot of these folks are just rotting away in there,
Yeah.
And you don't even realize it. You really don't even realize it. And I'm admitting it to you, that I was one of the guys that don't even think about it, because I'm living my life. But I tell you what, if you ever get bored out there and you ever want to just do something good, I'm here to tell you, it really does something spiritually to you, and it cleans you out. It really does. It really purifies you inside to know that you did something for these people. When you show up and you got a guitar in your hand and you just play for these people, they are so appreciative, and they have nothing but smiles on their face, and they hug your neck, because heck, some of these people hadn't seen anybody in 20 years, some of these people don't have any family.
Yeah.
And so I did that around Christmas time because I knew that around the holidays it gets hard for soldiers, and so I wanted to give back a little bit, and that's why that song means a lot to me.
Well, man, I know probably all of those guys probably already thanked you, but I'd like to thank you as well.
I appreciate that, man.
Man, you got me choked up a little bit here.
Well, dude, it's serious stuff. I had no recollection of how this was going down, and then when I saw it, I was like, wow. When you see things with your own eyes, it'll change you. So
yeah,
it did me.
Yeah, my dad passed away in 2013, and he did 20 years. He did a couple of tours in Vietnam, and you know, you're right. They come home, they're changed, and they're forever changed, and there's no going back. And you said it, and you hit the nail right on the head when you said underappreciated, for sure.
They very much are.
Man, Matt, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today, man.
Yeah, man, anytime. And dude, thanks for reaching out, and thanks for making me a part of it. And I'm glad we got to sit down and talk about everything. And you know, I do a lot of radio interviews, man, and I like getting to the point where people actually know who I am, you know,
yeah.
and know, you know, where I'm coming from. As far, I'm a real funny guy, man. I always try to have a really good time, and I'm sorry I was a Debbie Downer today.
Oh man,
you know,
no, it was great, man. You know, I that's part of why I like doing what we get to do. Is, you know, we're not that 5 or 10 minute radio station that's just, you know, talking about the music. We're really trying to tell your story and let people know who you are outside of the music, and that's important to us.
Well, that's what I want to get across. And you know what? Yeah, we're doing great and everything, but guys, at the end of the day, you know, this is my job. You know, just like you guys get up and go to work every day, this is my job too. And I don't want to forget the side of things that, hey, I am a human being just like everybody else, and you know, I am the neighbor that comes out and wants to shake your hand and help out. You know, 'cause at the end of the day, I'm still human just like everybody else. You know, and I'm gonna make mistakes but at the end of the day, I'm trying to learn from the mistakes. So,
right.
You know, that's all I can do.
So tell the folks out there where people can maybe buy copies of your music. Do you have a .com, your social media, places like that?
Yeah, they can go to my website, and it has all the links on my website. And it's Matt Kimbrow, MattKimbrow.com. And they can check out my music. They can check out all my social media pages. And, man, y'all just keep buying the music, and I'll keep doing it.
All right, awesome. And if there's people out there like me that might want a signed copy of a physical CD, where can we go to do that? On the .com?
They can, yes, sir. On my webpage, I have a place where they can buy the CDs, and if they need me to sign it, I'll sign it.
All right, guys, I want to thank you once again for tuning in to another amazing episode of the ETX ROCKS Show. If you're listening for the first time, you guys can follow along with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're at ETX ROCKS on all three. You can find us free on iTunes and Google Play Music. You can download all of our episodes. Over 130 episodes now that are available for free on both of those platforms. As we always say on this show, I want to thank everybody out there for supporting local music, and always remember,
ETX rocks.
Hey guys, I'm Katie Lynn, and make sure to tune in to ETX Rocks with
Boston Chris,
Zarin Watson, ETX Rocks.
ETX Rocks, Alan Fox Band.
Hey guys, we're the Morning Madhouse. I'm Carter.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Ginger.
It's the best podcast ever made in all of history.
Hi, this is Paul Bebo, and I'm ETX Rocks with Boston Chris Barnes. You're going to love it.
ETX Rocks.
Hey, East Texas. DP here. ETX Rocks.
Hey, East Texas, we're Enduring House, a Christian rock band.
ETX Rocks! Hey, this is Monty Pittman from ETX Rocks.
Hey East Texas, Jaden Farnsworth, ETX Rocks.
Hey everybody, I'm David McCarty with the Gypsy Creek Band. As always, ETX Rocks.
Hey guys, this is Chris Colston. Thanks for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show.
The ETX ROCKS Show.
The ETX ROCKS Show.
Ho! Hey folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and I just want to make sure you support local music.
Hi, East Texas. This is Chris Wayne.
And Crystal Clark with KYKX 1057. ETX rocks.
Hey, East Texas. We're Lady Chaz and the Tramps. And just remember, ETX rocks.
Hey, this is Todd Freeman of ETX Rocks with Boston Chris.
Hey, East Texas. I'm Waylon Hicks. And remember, ETX rocks.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the one and only SP, El Mexicano con Estilo. Make sure to support your local music, and ETX rocks.
Hello, we're one way home.
Hey, East Texas, this is Teaser.
Please continue to support local music.
And always remember, ETX rocks!
Howdy, folks. This is Aaron Watson. Support local music, and ETX rocks.
Hey, this is Chris Colston, and make sure you support local music and
ETX rocks.
Hey, this is Hannah Kirby. Thanks for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show.
Tough guy, ho!
Covering music-related content of all genres. If it filters through Eastern Texas, it's fair game. Y'all bring it. From Texarkana down to the coast and Dallas down to Houston and everything in between. We are ETX Rocks!